And now we're moving on to the Department of Television and Radio here at Brooklyn College. Very popular department. Let's take a look at this clip.
College is a great place to come because number one, it's located in New York City. Number two, it's very affordable. And number three, the best reason is the incredible international faculty that we have.
I think the program is really awesome. It's sort of like this really intensive introduction to a new medium.
Like I've had a lot of hands-on experience, feel really confident that I'm going toward the right direction.
Welcome, TV Radio Department. Thank you very much for joining us here in the TV Radio Department. You had to come all the way from your offices. So, we have questions. The first one, what would you recommend to students just starting out in this industry?
Well, I'll start. Well, my thing has been to tell students to not to wait until they finish their degree. There's tremendous opportunity right now with new platforms to release your content on video, on radio, multimedia. So I tell my students to start thinking about whether they can create something and create a way to monetize what they do. If there's something new that is going to come up 3-4 years from now, it might be them creating it, not me, that's for sure. So that's what I tell them, you know, you might want to start thinking about new ways to monetize your production.
Oh, interesting. Even at this early stage of the game.
Why not?
Yeah,
it's very easy.
Why not?
I like to emphasize to students that they need to think like entrepreneurs. In other words, because things are changing so much in the entertainment, television, and radio industries, they need to really be able to like think 3 steps ahead and be able to, you know, flexibly switch what they're doing and sort of think of themselves as their own producers, able to move around as the industry requires them to do so.
Ah, yes. What about you?
Continue to read and write as much as you can. I mean, we're ultimately in the communication business, and that's just conveying a message from one group or one person to another, and just get out there and create as much media as you can.
And create as much content as you can.
Absolutely.
Do you think there's a glut of content? Too much? From the consumer perspective?
There's a lot of content.
Or do you think that having so much content creates more choices for people in a more democratic way?
Absolutely. I think that's really what the technology revolution has done. It's empowered a lot of people who never had a voice before. And I don't think there's too much content because as consumers we can all be selective as to what we want to tune into or listen to or follow.
Yeah, there might be too much content that's not so great and not so, you know, thought-provoking or necessarily interesting, but it's there, right. And you know, it's good to have a lot of content. I think I would agree that choice is good.
And so, along with content, There's also different forms of distribution, more so than there was traditionally. Now you have things like YouTube, Facebook, where you know, you see these little videos that go viral. There's so much more ways to distribute your content, whereas you had to pitch it to a network, or you had to get it on the radio, or all these traditional forms of, you know, distribution. Whereas it's a lot more accessible to students, especially graduating students.
Some people in media talk about the economics of abundance, meaning that even if there's a tremendous amount of material out there, then you have to think about how to make something different. And if you do, if you offer a product that is different, you can go viral very fast, you know, and be successful very fast.
Excellent. One of the questions that was given to ask is, what do you think the socio-cultural impact of television radio is currently? Obviously, there's a huge impact, and things are changing so quickly. But there's new media out there now that wasn't there before, and I think maybe you have already answered this question in terms of that it allows producers and content creators to get their stuff seen immediately once it's created without having to go through the channels.
Right. Well, and I would just like to take this opportunity to emphasize that the impact is not just content, too. When you think about media and impact, you have to think about the fact that new media forms change the way we actually organize our lives, and the way, you know, like, you know, telephones, digital telephones require that we, you know, now work and have relationships online all the time. Everything that we do is online. So I think it's important to look at, you know, impact of content, but impact of forms is equally as important.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
The education, income, and health of our communities, our families, united. Even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united.
So the department both teaches how to actually produce TV and radio as vehicles for entertainment. But the question, let's turn philosophical here, if we can, for a moment. The question becomes, TV and radio is often perceived as a medium to carry the art and not an art itself. How would you respond to that?
My immediate response is that a medium, television and radio are definitely art forms as much as any other kind of medium, you know, produces art or is a vehicle for art. It's a tough question to answer because television and radio offers so much in terms of, you know, music, visual arts, you know. I know I'm not articulating very well, but I feel like it's definitely a medium for art, and it is an art form. Maybe I should turn that over to someone else who can articulate better than I can.
You know, no, you're up. I've seen a lot of really cool modern art installations using the medium of television. Whether it's an artist who sort of sends a signal and it's different colors and television sets that creates the sculpture. So it's that the medium itself is entering this genre of art in a literal sense, that it's in a museum and it's not necessarily content. However, you know, sometimes there are content that's really looped into these sort of video installations, so that's really one way.
Yeah, from my own experience, I think any kind of collaboration between the person in front of the camera or the event that's happening in front of the camera, the way it gets portrayed by the people who are holding the cameras, producing it, or giving it a voice, really affects the content that's being portrayed. So it's, you can't separate the content from, from the production.
I suppose if someone who says they're an artist produces something that makes it art, it doesn't necessarily make it good art. And when you have 500 channels running 24 hours a day, I don't know that there's a whole lot of good art coming out of television. However, with that said, I think that you have to be a very, very creative person, and you have to know a lot about the arts in general to work in the medium.
This show is The Arts at BC, and we've included the TV radio department. Thank you guys for being here with us. And now to